Yeah, I know I finished Guardians of the Moon like a month plus ago, but you know what? Mr. Erickson doesn't do everything in order, and you guys love him, so I'm going to fix that now. Hey, what's up, bookworms and bridge burners? Going to talk a little Gardens of the Moon today. Now, what I plan to do when I finish each Malazan book is talk about my character power rankings for each book. Now, this is going to be like the 10 characters that stood out the most to me. I'm not going to mention any previous books or books that come after, because yes, if you're watching this in this order, you understand I've already read Dead House Gates. But this is going to be just about Gardens of the Moon and nothing changed. So I want you guys to understand, in the future, going forward with this series, these power rankings, I will only be mentioning the book that is in the title of this episode. So you ain't got to worry about that. However, you do have to understand these are going to be spoiler videos. They're not going to be like heavy spoilers, but I have to talk about what these characters did in these books for them to stand out and differentiate themselves from the rest. So I don't feel like if you aren't reading Malazan, you have any interest in watching these videos. So I don't feel like I need to alienate the people who have read them by being super secret about why I like these characters. It's something I learned with that Red Rising video I did the other day. So let's go ahead and kick it off, guys. I want to start with an honorable mention because there's no way I can stick to just 10. I mean, there's so many characters in here. I got to give some love to Crone because I love an animal companion. And the fact that this animal companion can actually shapeshift into a dog is just the coolest thing ever. And talk. And it can talk. So that's really awesome. So I want to make sure I gave Crone some love here. Let's kick it off with number 10 here. This is Relic. This is a character the first half of the book I was kind of I don't know on. And then he had that fight on the roof with God, what's his name? Ocelot. And it was just so kick-ass. And then you had that confrontation with Turban Or later on at the Fates or the Feti or whatever you say that word. You know what I'm talking about. But you're building this up like Turban Or's with real badass with a sword, right? And Relic Nom just two moves and done. Kind of made me think of Kest from the Greatcoat series. Really, really good stuff. But yeah, just a fun character, kind of the one that you can find yourself supporting because he's just a badass assassin. Maybe with a heart of gold. I don't know that anybody has a heart of gold in this series yet. Again, I'm not really sure. Let's move on to number 9. This one might be kind of a interesting pick for some. I'm going with Sari, not Absolar. I'm going with Sari. And why I think I like Sari is because she was just so twisted, man. I mean, there was nothing that this lady would not do. Made me think of like some kind of really sick, twisted Stephen King character or something. So almost like the touch of horror in this novel, her being controlled by other people, that kind of thing. But just that she's absolutely emotionless. She doesn't care. She'll slice you from neck to nuts and not even think twice, not even look back to see your body fall. Again, it's just I felt like it was like the pseudo evil that we really needed in this book before we got into the raised and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, a character I really, really liked. But I know that that's kind of divisive for some, especially when you know what happens with her as Absolar. Things change completely, when she's not under that control anymore. But I liked her as Sari because it was just a really, really dark, messed up character. Number 8 here, I've got to go with Sergeant Whiskey Jack. And I know that might be kind of low for some of you guys here. Now, I think the reason that it is so low is because I think with this is Whiskey Jack, you don't get a ton kind of from his perspective. It's more about how his men would run through a wall for him. They would do anything for him, that kind of thing. Everything else is just kind of like, I mean, I understand that everyone respects and loves this man. I just don't really know why. So I think, obviously, this is a character I'd heard of before I even started the series. So I know that there's going to be more. And in future books, I'm sure he'll probably rank higher. But in this one, I felt like it was a little need more information kind of thing with him to kind of move him up. But again, I like everything that I see. And guys, if they made this list, I'll go ahead and let the cat out of the bag. My toughest cut for this list, Race, the Jagut Tyrant. So it tells you how tough this list was for me to make. With number 7, I've got to go with Talk the Younger. He kind of felt like the everyman that the series kind of needed. he almost seemed like at times he was the character that was there to break the fourth wall and talk to the viewer and be like, wow, this is messed up, isn't it? Are you confused? Yeah, me too. Easily relatable. I don't think he's dead. The thing I've learned about fantasy and sci-fi is if you don't see the body, they're not dead. He got pulled into that warren, which I don't really still understand what a warren is. So I'm assuming that he's still there and he will turn up in later books. But in this one, I think that he seems to be like one of the only ones who can see any compassion in Lorne at all. And that's something that's interesting that he could kind of get that. But the kind of the buddy cop scene that he has in this book is really just a good time. But again, like I said, I love me an everyman in a story this massive. You kind of needed something like that. And that's why with number 6, I got to go with Dujek One Arm. The reason he's here is much like Whiskey Jack. You believe that these people would run through a wall for him as if his soldiers would lay down their lives without a second question if he asked them to. But I feel like you see it more. You see his actions and how important he is. I mean, even with the Empire, you've got Tatrans being like, yeah, we got to get rid of this guy. And Lauren's like, no, we'll get rid of you before we get rid of him because, he's just way too important. I don't care what his allegiances are. Now, obviously, it doesn't end that way. But again, you see how important he is not only to those that trust him, but those that don't trust him consider him just too much of an asset to let go of. I want to know the history with this guy. I want to know what he's going on with. I don't know what this Pantheon Domain thing is. He seems like he almost seems like the Batman. Like he's got the plan 3 steps ahead of everyone else. At least that's the way that I'm getting it. Just a master tactician. I think you need a character like that. Made me think a lot of some of the scenes with Matt and around the Fires of Heaven mark of Wheel of Time, just being like this brilliant battle master. And it really comes across in the page. And I want to know how he lost his arm, because one arm is just too good of a nickname. Let's move on to number 5 here. That is Tattersall. Got to give some love to the big girls. Look, I love, not only does Erickson have to remind us that she be thick a lot, I like that don't matter, because I don't think there's very many guys that she comes into contact with that she's not bedding. So, hey, get yours, girl. Go for it. Again, I think it was a really, really great way to help us dive into the whole mage thing here. There's so much magic that is unexplained, and I think making her kind of a viewpoint character really, really helped us accept that this world is going to be a little crazy. I still don't understand the Deck of Dragons thing. There's many people who have told me, you're never going to understand the Deck of Dragons thing. That's fine. That's fine by me. But I think when you have a book that goes as crazy as it does right off the bat with like a wooden puppet talking, it's like, okay, I'm glad we got this character here to kind of like hold my hand and say, you know what, it's going to be okay. But then you find out the layers of Tattersall. There are no morally white characters in here, I don't think. They are all very, very gray. So you're thinking, oh, Tattersall, that's someone that you could follow and root for. And then you find out about her being part of that scourge that's in the prologue, and her and Lauren are ready to throw down. And she's like ready to take it. She's ready to take her punishment. So you have to like a character like that knows they've done some wrongs, and they're still, no matter how much time has passed, they're always willing to pay those dues when the time comes. So a very likable character. I make the jokes about Tattertail and things like that. I don't think I understand what's going on with her by the end of this book. I'm hoping that will be something that makes some sense later. That's some really, really wild stuff. Again, I just always knew she wasn't dead. She just may not be the Tattersall that we fell in love with the first half of this book. So lots of question marks there, but I think I'm going to have those through this whole series. But she was a character I latched onto really, really quick, just like I did number 4. This is Quickben, another one I had heard of before I started the series, and I think I know why, because people love this character. I love kind of the buddy cop relationship he has with Corporal Kalam. That's a good relationship that I really found myself liking anytime those two were together on the screen. Again, a nice viewpoint into the magic here, again, which doesn't make a lot of sense. But again, he's getting you with some characters and not being afraid to show that they can do some wild stuff when they have to. But then when you get the whole like where he goes down and meets Shadow Throne, you find out he was actually part of the Shadow Realm for a while. Like, okay, well, this is just got some layers. I definitely want to know more about this dude. And he's like the only mention of 7 cities really in this book. Him and Kalam about being from 7 cities. So it's already planted those seeds of I want to know what these things are. I want to know why he used to work in the Shadow Realm. How did he get away? And he has like a disguise because Shadow Throne didn't recognize him. So many questions. But again, some of the best dialogue I think in the book is those two, and that's why number 3 is Corporal Kalam. First off, I wanted to know more about this dude's past because you find out, okay, he was a Claw assassin. Now, what I'm kind of gathering from the Claw here is it's kind of like in John Wick. You don't really leave. You just kind of take some time off. So I don't think the Claw is something that you really can just walk away from, which it seems like he has. But again, what's he doing in Genovacus if he's a Seven Cities guy? What's the deal? Why is he a bridge burner? What's the story here? But again, there's a rooftop scene with him and Quickben fighting some assassins. It's just top level stuff. And you first see what a true badass this guy is. And again, he's just an enigma shrouded in mystery, man. I want to know what the deal is with this dude. I want to know what's up with his past. I want to know what is going on with him. Why is he with the bridge burners? I have so many questions about the bridge burners. But I have so many questions about this whole series. And this is just book 1 of this, which is just wild. I don't know another way to put it. Number 2 here, I have to go with Animander Rake. Started calling myself Animander Mike because I like him so much. Just easily the coolest cat in the galaxy in this book. I mean, every time he walks into a room, it's like, forget about that shit. Here comes Mongo. That's what it's like anytime Rake shows up. And people were they're paying attention. And yes, sir, we will do what you want. But then when you find out some of the about the Tistandi, about how they're a depressed people and they don't really feel like they have a point. A reason to being here anymore. And this is kind of something they're hoping that you can kind of revive the spirits of his people by trying to protect these last few free cities in Genovacus. So really layered character in a way that I wasn't expecting. I was just expecting him to just be like a serious badass, and he has a badass sword, and he's just going to chop people up, which he does do. And the fact that he can change into a dragon too, that doesn't hurt, right? So so many great moments fighting the Hellhounds, things like that, telling Shadow Throne, yo, back off. So much good stuff with him. His fight with that demon, which I can't remember its name. Just a fantastic character. And when he walks in the room, he demands respect, and most of the time, fear. But one of the coolest characters. I know he gets lots of comparisons to Elric, which I haven't read, or Geralt. Look, besides having white hair, what's the similarity? Oh, they got white hair and a sword. They must be alike. I've read Witcher, but I haven't read Elric. I can say no, he's nothing like Geralt at all. Very, very different. I just want more of this character. It's such a cool introduction. I love the idea of the floating moon. It's so neat, and that's why I think the series has really just captured my imagination from the beginning. Now, if you've watched some of my other reviews, you probably know what number 1's going to be here, because I thought that. I don't know. I guess I was just expecting the Talani Moss to just be just another boring zombie race or something. It's like a group of Skeletors, man. Onos Tulan, just Tool to you and I. Such a fun character, and I didn't expect that in a book this super serious. I never expected to have as much humor as it is, and it's dry humor. It really is. But his conversation with Lauren about it's futile. I read it 3 times because I was laughing so hard. Every bit as fun of a companion character when you have a character that's every bit as self-serious as Adjunct Lauren was, to have someone like Tool, they're kind of actually really played off of it. But when he starts getting into the history of them and the Jagut, I'm just I want to know more of this stuff. What is the deal here? Such probably a top 10 introduction to a character I've ever seen, coming out of the ground and stabbing a dude, from the nuts to the neck. Just so wicked. But every time he has just a discussion, I find myself listening really, really closely, even if it's just for the humor. I love basically the way that he tells his stories to Lauren is really good, and he somewhat explains the Warrens a little bit. I mean, I left just more confused than I was before, but he knows all the stuff, and I want to know this history between the Jagut and the Talani Moss, because it just sounds so delicious. I don't know if that's a prequel book or if that's a sequel book. I don't know if I'm going to get to know this stuff or what the way that I want, but it just made me be okay, this is going to be another race that I'm not really interested in. You're introducing too many races at once, and he just made them instantly interesting. And that is why Tool is my number 1. I hope I see him again later in this series. Now, probably the biggest question you got is, where's Krupp? Well, he's not on this list. I am still very, very undecided on Krupp. I don't know. There's another character in book 2 that I found similar that I feel the same way. Just I'm kind of undecided. I need to know more. Now I know a lot of people that have read this whole series love Crone. Now you got to understand, guys. I'm a first-time reader. I don't know the things that you know. I remember where you were when you finished Guardians of the Moon before you attacked me about some of these characters that you love that I didn't put on here. These are the 10 that kind of stuck out to me. Like I said, Race was the toughest cut off this list. I thought he was just like a superior badass. I mean, even more so than Rake, but it was just to a point where it was like, okay, but I didn't get to see enough of him for him to really crack into this. So I don't know what form or if we'll be seeing Race again in this series, but definitely room to go up there. So guys, what are some characters you loved from Guardians of the Moon? I'm sure some of these are on there. I'm sure some ones that I didn't list are going to be on your list. Drop in the comments and let me know what they are, and I will talk to you there.